So, what did you think about these gestures around the world? Did you think it was interesting? I certainly hope so, and I hope it would also help you when you are talking to people from different cultures about gestures. So, we also said that there are suggestions for enhancing communication, and it is always a good idea when you talk to strangers to always smile, show warmth, and be friendly. It is very, very important for us. If you see a friendly face, people are already, even if you don't understand, at least you feel comfortable and you know that you can. This person does not mean any harm. Also, to attempt to learn and use some keywords in a different language. It's important every time before I go overseas or before I visit a different country, I try and learn what is it, maybe just keywords, for instance, good morning, good evening, good night, thank you, please, so that I can help myself. Sometimes just something simple like, what is the price? Can you pass me the menu? Just so that I can help myself when I do go into shops or talk to people. Because people, when you greet them in their own language, even if you do not continue talking to them, they always feel that you are trying to talk to them in their own language. Always thank your clients if they are not English speaking for trying to communicate to you in your language. And right at the beginning also explain to them that you do not speak their language, and that you really appreciate the fact that they are trying to understand what you are saying to them. You should articulate very clearly when you speak to people from a different cultural group and also maybe a different language. Try and speak in a normal tone. Ask for clarifications as you go along. Ask people to um, tell you what you have just said, to make sure that they understood what it is that you have been saying, and follow your intuition. Sometimes you can see when you talk to people that you are losing them, or that they are probably frowning, and then you know that there is something that they maybe do not understand, or maybe even with their body language, if they start folding their arms in front of them, that might mean that they are not really or open to what you are saying. So follow your intuition and see if you can work with them. Also consider using a less direct approach. Use more visual aids, food models, gestures, pictures, those sort of things. We talked about it. If you ask people questions, and they do not answer you very clearly, try and ask the same question in a different way, so that you can see if you can get the information. Consider sometimes alternatives to written communications when you are giving people information. Maybe videos, demonstrations, we talked a lot about that, can also help them. And we talked also with illiteracy about writing the numbers down. When you want people to use 2 servings, don't just talk to, just write it, because in most instances people do understand numbers. And make sure that all the written communication is available in the major languages of the country or the community in which you are working. That will also help to, even if you explain it to them in English, if they can read it in their own language, it will also help them. So another approach that community nutritionists can use to work with a diverse population is to use professional interpreters who are familiar with the language and also familiar with the culture of the participants. It is not advisable to use non-professional interpreters such as the people's children, their friends, housekeeping staff, husbands, wives, or even other relatives, because confidentiality may be compromised and the participant may probably feel uncomfortable when they have to discuss personal issues. And what you can also follow There is also, if you cannot find an interpreter that can help you to interpret, you can also use the AT&T language line through an operator which can give you 24-hour service in 140 lines. That is a very useful tool that people can. So there is also guidelines for when you are using an interpreter, for instance, so that you can make sure that the interpreter is familiar with the terminologies and that he can really explain what you want to say. You have to talk to him before the time to give him the questions that you are going to ask so that he knows exactly what it is that you are looking for, and that he does not, and he interprets it exactly the way you want to do. Also to maybe not look at the interpreter, but to look and speak to the client. Sometimes we have a tendency to rather talk to the interpreter because he is or she is going to be the one that will be speaking to our participants, but we should not be doing that. We need to speak to the people so that they know we are talking to them and not to the interpreter. So there are some more of these guidelines that you can have a look at. So cultural competence, again, this is another video that you can have a look at. It is a fairly long video, but it will give you also some more information in the healthcare business of language and cultural barriers that can be experienced. So I will meet with you again after you have watched this video.